Hi, I'm Meredith Okenquist. I work in the Experienced Career Development Department here at Villanova. My position is very new to the university. I've been here 8 weeks at this point. My position is new. I am not new to the university. I graduated in 1996. I'm an undergraduate alum of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. And after that time, I spent 20-some years out in industry, working in recruiting, working with different types of companies in various types of industries, really kind of developing my skill set, which I feel I am now bringing back home to Villanova to serve as a career development coach for alumni as well as students in the College of Professional Studies. So I kind of share that background with you, not to talk about myself, but to kind of give you some insight as to what kind of skills and background I'm bringing to you as we talk about what types of career paths you would be looking for as you are here in the program. So I can help align you to what companies are looking for as it relates to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, what are some interviewing skills, tactics, strategies, really putting to work professional development tactics to head you in the right direction of where you want to go in your career. And so here we are. We ignite you, you ignite change. All of you who are seeking a degree are doing so for a reason. And the expectation that you can have from me and in our individual conversations would be me asking you, why have you decided to pursue this program? What is the reason you decided on this particular program, and what is your goal? And I will then meet you at that place. So we don't necessarily do soup to nuts with regards to every resource that we have. I will not unload everything on you. If needed, I will. But we'll talk about where you have been professionally, what type of work experiences have you had, what are those transferable skill sets that you already have that are now being complemented with this academic experience that you're having. And we tailor that and we make sure that you're branded appropriately, whether it be on your LinkedIn profile, the way you're presenting yourself to potential employers, how are you networking. These are the types of things that we talk about, and we kind of check in to see where you are professionally. You know, as you're going through the program, my suggestion for students would be to connect with me sooner rather than later. The conversation with me does not have to be about the transaction of you looking for a job now, because career services ideally is not a job-seeking resource for you. We show you the way to look for positions. Of course, we have employers that come here to Villanova and we help connect you with them, but this is not a search firm. We help you build the skills and what you need to move forward with those job-seeking strategies. So here is my contact information. Handshake. I'm going to talk a little bit about Handshake this evening. This is how you are going to make appointments with me. It's important that all students develop a Handshake profile. So when you join Handshake, you develop a personal profile, and it's going to be to your advantage to go in there. You put your resume in there. There'll be basic information in there, but you want to populate and enhance your profile based upon your areas of interest. Because I as well as the Career Center, we're going to push communications out through Handshake. And those communications will be tailored to you based on your profile. So if you have a strong interest in healthcare, we are not necessarily, we are not going to push finance jobs or finance-oriented information to you. It will be very tailored, but it will be tailored based upon what you have populated in there. So once you're in there, you put your information in there, and that's where you make an appointment with me. So it says appointments, and then it would, because you are a student within the College of Professional Studies, it will default to me, and then you make your appointment. Appointments with me can be made in person. My office is in Basie Hall. We could also meet via Zoom or have a phone conversation, and we set it up for 30 or 60 minutes. I want to talk about Nova Network November, which is coming up shortly. So I'm going to want all of you to be on Handshake so you will start receiving information. So this is a month where we are going to have widespread career development resources for alumni as well as students of the university. And as I say that, I want you to think about, yes, you are currently students, but know that these services will continue with you through your alumni experience. So I am actually the career coach for alumni. So you are the one population where you will be with me while you're a student, and I will carry you through graduation into alumni status. Whereas other students, undergrads, have different coaches at this point, and then it becomes me. So you're kind of stuck with me now, like from the beginning right through. But there'll be a lot of value to that because we can really build a relationship, and I think that'll kind of maximize your experience. So Nova Network, just to go back 1 second on that. So when you think about Nova Network November, this is an opportunity to participate in different programs. We are going to have over 50 events around the country. So I want to share this with you because say you leave here and decide to move to Chicago or San Francisco or another part of the world. Nova Nation is global, and we have a very conscious and intentional strategy to stay connected to our alumni in all of those areas. So this is an example that, yes, you may live in Chicago, but Nova Nation will still come to you there. We will meet you in that geographical location. We have regional alumni groups, and we're always looking at programming. We have staff and faculty that will actually travel to these areas to deliver this type of programming. So Nova Network November, you are going to hear more about this. We're going to have online resume coaching series, which you would not necessarily have to do. I actually would encourage you to do the one-on-one with me. That would be more for alumni who are out there already. And then there's some examples of the presentations. Take a look at some of the webinars that we're having. When you think about career development, it's always about enhancing yourself professionally in all areas. Again, not that transactional experience always that I'm looking for a new job, but what are things that I am doing today to raise my profile in my organization, to make sure that I'm making an impact, to make sure that I'm really exhibiting the brand that I want to be. When you think about your profile, LinkedIn, perfect example. If you look at your profile objectively on LinkedIn, how are you presenting yourself? And again, it's not about looking for a job, but each one of you in your jobs and where you are can have a very impactful presence on LinkedIn. For example, I was in an event last night, took some pictures. Today, I posted on LinkedIn, and you can showcase your professional self in that way. I'll be taking a picture here later. It'll be going on LinkedIn tomorrow. Again, kind of showcasing the College of Professional Studies, really identifying and targeting different events. These are the types of things I encourage you, please, if you want to connect on LinkedIn with me, you can take a look at my profile, kind of the way we suggest things to be. Okay. Handshake and career shift. So I wanted to just give you an example of some of the job resources that we have. So Handshake, not only is it for communications or to make appointments with me, but you can also search jobs on there. I looked. There are over 6,000 jobs today posted on Handshake for experienced professionals. 6,000. Handshake is the job board for employers. When I was a recruiter working for multiple companies, I loved it because companies join Handshake, okay? They post their job, and then there's a drop-down box, and they choose all the schools that it goes to. So they're not individually posting to each school. It's become a very robust job board for top companies, and it's very easy for them to post jobs. 6,000 jobs. So at any given point, and they're updated daily. So this is an example. You populate your Handshake profile based upon what you're looking to do. Handshake is very intuitive, and it will push jobs and notifications to you based on your interest. It's fabulous. And this is not Glassdoor. This is not Indeed, which are job boards I really do not recommend using. recruiters and companies don't put a lot of investment into those vehicles anymore because they're, people go in, they apply for 50 different jobs. Employers get thousands of resumes, and it's just ridiculous. So, these types of job boards, we help you with the direction of that. So Handshake for Jobs, and also Career Shift. This is another job board that we recommend. It actually kind of aggregates job postings across many different companies and industries into one place. But that would be something we talk about. But I wanted to give you that example. This is how you join Handshake. So please note this if you do not have it. Villanova.joinhandshake.com. Okay, you put the Villanova in front of that. So many schools have this. So other institutions, it would just be their name. And again, build your profile, upload your resume, and keep an eye out on your newsfeed. Another resource I want to share with you. So say you are in the process of looking for a job and you haven't interviewed for a while, you're going to be squeaky, right? And you should be squeaky because you're doing your job, you haven't been in it, and what are the latest trends? What should my expectation be? How do you prepare? That's something you can rely on for us. I love this resource. So it's called Big Interview, and you actually practice online your interview skills, and it records you. So say it's 10 o'clock at night, that's when you have some time, you go on here, I would give you the log on information. I will give you preparation questions. We go through like how do you prepare for an interview, but then you can practice. So you would sit with your webcam, somebody who is not for real is on there, what do you call it? Artificial intelligence woman, asks you questions like, tell me about yourself, what are your strengths, all those types of questions, and you answer them. And it records you, and then you play it back. And if you don't like it, you delete it, and you try it again. See it again, you don't like it, delete it. Then you do it again, you'd be like, you know what, actually that's pretty good. You're gonna hit click, and you're gonna email it to me. So I get an email saying that you were on Big Interview, and you had a practice question. And it's great because then I look at your video, and I type a critique and send it back to you. You know what, maybe you need to tighten that up a little bit, maybe give a little more detail, you kind of went a little too long. And we practice that way. Of course, I'm available for in-person mock interviews, but this is an example. If you're working, you're going to school, you're busy, you don't have the time to come see me during the day, at your convenience on a Sunday morning or whatever it is, this is an example of a convenient resource, okay? We do resume writing. So I would ask to look at where your content is now, and I look at it through the eye of a recruiter and based upon what you're looking to pursue. And I make sure that the way your resume reads is the way that you want the output to be. So that's where you leave it to us, to me, to kind of help you with that guidance. All of you should have a one-page resume. I have almost 24, 25 years of experience. I have a one-page resume. I'm the master of getting it down to one page. So you come to me with 4 pages, we will get it down, I promise. We keep it big picture, we make it impactful. Every word on your resume needs to deserve to be there. It's valuable real estate space. You want people to bring you in for an interview because they want more information. So the words that are on there, they're gonna be impactful, and they're gonna showcase you in a business context tailored to showing your transferable skill sets, what you've learned in your academic program, and your past working experiences. We will help you with your resume. Now, I do like to say there are many right ways to write a resume, and at the end of the day, if somebody wants to use the resume they have, of course, but we just show you ways that we have seen, in all of my years of recruiting and working for major firms, nobody reads a second page, and you have 6 seconds in front of an employer. What are they looking at? Your name, where'd you go to school, your degrees, where did you work, and your positions. If I'm potentially interested in you, I look at the first bullet point of each job. That is what is most impactful on your resume, and that is the reality of industries. So these are the types of things we talk about, okay? And especially, here you are, you're getting this incredible education, that should not be at the end. That is showcased at the top. So these are strategies, for example. So I could talk ongoing. I could have an hour of resume development, as you can probably tell, but these are the types of things that we talk about. And this is why it's great if you engage with me sooner than later, because we could have ongoing conversations. Like this one appointment, we'll have an hour and talk about your resume. Great, we have that all done. Next, let's work on your LinkedIn profile. Okay, that's ready to go. Okay, and then we move forward from there. Nova Network. Besides Handshake, if there are two things you remember from me tonight, Handshake and Nova Network. Nova Network is basically LinkedIn for Nova Nation. LinkedIn for Nova Nation. It is important for all of you. Faculty and staff can go on here. It's for current students, alumni, and friends, including faculty, staff, parents. It is a tremendous resource. You know, we have answered the call of how do we connect to Nova Nation? Besides going on LinkedIn, connecting where you went to school, this is run by a program called People Grove, you know, and many large institutions. I worked at Temple before I came here. Temple has it. It's called the OWL Network. So if you've had other institutions that you've gone to, you know, check in with them too, because you can tap into these different networks. They're all called different things, but they're run off of this platform called People Grove. But you can search Villanovans around the globe based on company. You know, say you want to work for Disney. You go in there, you're going to find what Villanova alum work at Disney and what their positions are. And you can reach out to them, and it's a much more open conversation than trying to track them down otherwise. If there's a particular area of industry that's of interest to you, if you're moving to Chicago, you don't know anyone, you want to check out alumni, career level, these are all the ways that you can filter and find alum in those areas. And you can direct message an alum, request an informational conversation. And these are the things also that we would talk about, like how do you do that? You know, you're not asking them to go out to dinner or have lunch or have coffee. You're asking for a brief 10-minute phone conversation. You know, that, you know, you never know people's comfort levels with, you know, talking to people they haven't met. The best way to connect to somebody and get a connection is a brief 10-minute phone conversation versus trying to tie somebody down for coffee or breakfast, or, you know, it sounds good, but they really don't want to do that. You know, and these are the things, you know, I can walk you through what to say, what is impactful, and the way to make those connections. Okay, one more. Okay, and I will leave you with this. Here is my contact information. I will be here. I also have I'll leave some of my business cards here. And I have a sheet here about resources. These are career resources, specifically for all of you in the College of Professional Studies. It has information about all these resources that we talked about, how to access them, so please take this. And just know that I am here to help you. And if you think, let's leave you with 3 things. So Handshake, Nova Network, and Career Meredith. Okay, so if I can leave you with that, I'd be very happy. But I look forward to working with all of you who are in the program. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
So I'm really happy to be here to kind of give you an overview tour of library resources. Some of your classes, you may not have to do any research at all. They may be entirely self-contained, but you probably will encounter a couple classes that you do have to do research. And faculty have really different approaches to this. Sometimes faculty will, you know, kind of take you step by step through the research process that they would like you to follow. But they don't always do that, especially, you know, in the college level. Sometimes they may expect you to be sort of a self-starter for that. And so if that's the case, the library's there to help you get started on your own and to work with you on whatever project you have. So basically our goal is to, you know, save you time and get you what you need in the most efficient manner possible. We're not there to torture you with, you know, actually, you know, spending a lot of time finding things. We want to facilitate your finding what you need efficiently. You can go to the next one. So the place where you start is the library homepage, and this, I think something happened in the translation. The PowerPoint isn't looking exactly as it should, but this is the library homepage, and that's where you would start your research, and the URL for that is library.villanova.edu. And one of the things that I like to point out on here is that we have live chat, which is a really convenient thing for folks that are juggling work and school. So at least during business hours, like 9 to 5, there's always a professional librarian on staff available to answer your questions. So you can go on there and say, I need to find some articles about X, Y, or Z, and a librarian will answer and chat with you and give you directions on how to do that. If you have a more in-depth research problem that can't be adequately addressed through chat, or if the librarian that happens to be on call, like for instance, if the philosophy librarian is on call and they pick up the chat and you have a business question and they're not that comfortable with that, they may transfer that chat to me because I have an MBA and I'm really well steeped in that, or they may transfer it, if it's an engineering question, they'll transfer it to the engineering librarian. Or if it's really in-depth, they may say, let me get your email address, we'll get back to you, that kind of thing. So we can go to the next screen then. There you go. It is working, okay. So this is the library homepage, and I'd like to just point out, we'll go through and point out some of the main features of it. We can go to the next screen, I think. So if you do a search in that big search box, you will, actually this is showing services that are particularly helpful for students that are not necessarily on campus. So in the big search box, if you do a search in there, you'll be searching books in our collection, articles in our collection, and information that's just on our web page. So you'll get split information there. But if you're looking just for books, for instance, this screen is showing you the results there, and that our library, is a physical place where you can come and work if you'd like to, but most of our resources available online. And so even when it comes to books in our collection, you can limit your results to online, which you see here, and you'll get all ebooks that you can access from wherever you are. And if you're a distance student that happens to be watching this video or looking at the webinar, we also do deliver our materials to other locations. So you can request, if you type in distance book delivery on the library webpage, you'll get a form where you can request that the book be mailed to your home. I think we can go to the next one. Okay. Academic journals will probably be, a lot of the research that you do. We can go to the next screen then. And almost all of them are online. There's very little anymore in print in the collection. You can go to the next one. Everyone's used to using Google. I'm a big proponent of Google, and I think that you'll definitely be using Google too. There's a subset of Google that is very helpful for academic research, and that's Google Scholar. I would definitely commend this free web resource to you. However, one of the problems with using Google Scholar is if you're off campus and you use Google Scholar, you'll hit paywalls. So you'll see articles that are just on point, that you were able to easily find them using the keywords, the same kind of searching that you do on regular Google, but they're academic scholarly articles, and that's just what you need for a class, but you hit a paywall. You absolutely do not want to pay for a scholarly journal article because you want to use the resources that we subscribe to get that. One of the ways to get around that is when you go to Google Scholar, click on settings and click on library links and type in Villanova, check off Villanova, and save that on whatever machine you're using, and that will facilitate your linking through to content that we subscribe to. It's not a foolproof way of getting content that we subscribe to, but it's one of the methods. We can go to the next screen then. So very often you may use that search box on the library homepage to type in an article that you want or a topic that you want. We can go to the next screen. And you may use the drop-down menu to limit just to article content, and that's what you see here, where this drop-down is being used to search just articles. And so this is searching a very large database of articles, and you see what content is available. You don't usually get the full text right away. You get a little abstract like you would in a database, and you would click on this Find It button to hopefully get the full text. So we can go to the next screen. And this is not the only way to, I think we can you click again to get the other side? Oh no, maybe go back one, sorry. This is not the only way to find something if you know that you're supposed to look in a particular journal. Like if your faculty member says, well, you know, you really need to look, because I know that there's a Harvard Business Review article on that topic. And you're like, well, great, but where do I find the Harvard Business Review? I Google it, and they want to charge me $8.95 for the article. You don't really want to do that. So you want to come back to the library screen, go to the Journal Finder, which is on the front page of the library web screen. Click on Journal Finder, and you pop up with a box like this, and you type in the name of the journal that you want. You could also, this is highlighted here, sometimes if you're on Google Scholar and you see a scholarly article described, it will have what's called a DOI, a Digital Object Identifier. So you can type in that information and click on search, and it will bring you to whatever database we have that's likely to have that full text. Okay, let's go to the next screen then. And on this screen, this is kind of hard to read. Let's see what's going on here. I think that this is really just showing, if you've looked for a particular journal through that Journal Finder, it will list the databases that have it and the years that database covers. And then it will open up, and the pages that have the content that open up from that journal always look different because we're subscribing to many different databases and many content providers, and there's not any uniformity. So don't be surprised when you'll land on a screen and you'll have to look around to figure out, like, where do I get the PDF? Where's the search button? Because there's not a lot of uniformity into that. There's not much that we can do about that. So that's what you're seeing here. We searched for a particular journal. We found out that it's available in 2 databases. One database that we choose opens it up, and it looks like this. Another database, this is actually an example of searching by the title of an article on that open box by article, and clicking on full text, and the screen really looks different, but it brings you directly to that article. You have to look around for where you can get the PDF. Okay, we can go to the next screen. That's, gives you some idea of the functionality of the home search page on the library page. However, sometimes using that search box won't get you to what you need. In particular, in my area in business, it's great for scholarly articles, it's great for books, but there's a lot of business content that's really not covered in that general search box. So what you may need to do is get to a specialized database. Sometimes you can do that there's a database A to Z list if you know the name of the database, or you can type it in on the search box and bring you to the database. But if you don't really know which database to start with, and it's at 11 o'clock at night and there's no one manning that chat box, but you really need to spend a little time to get somewhere, what you can do is go on the library homepage. There's a section where it says subject guides. So it brings you to a page like this, and this is a list of all the different subjects that are covered. And we can go to the next page then, I think we'll have an example of a subject guide. Yeah, so this is one of my subject guides, and it's a curated list of the databases and resources that are most useful for that particular discipline. So you'll see here, just an example of this. If you need to get books on marketing and business law, these are the databases that are recommended. If you need to get articles, there's a list of articles there. If you need to do consumer research, you can click on that consumer research tab, and it'll list very specialized databases that'll give you access to national consumer surveys, that kind of thing. So these subject guides are put together by the librarians that are specialists in each of their disciplines. Like I have an MBA, so I'm work for business. The philosophy librarian has a PhD in philosophy, so he works in that area. The literature librarian has a master's as well. So we each, really know what resources are best for that discipline, and this is a great place to start. Most of these subject guides also will have our contact information. So if we happen to be online, you can chat with us directly. This box will only appear if I happen to be at my machine. So you can connect directly with the librarian that's the specialist in your area, or you can email that librarian directly, or you can call that librarian directly. Probably not the greatest thing to call, because I think most of us work best with email and chat. And I think I'm sorry it was cut off, but on most of our pages, there's also will be a button below our, or someplace on the page, it's not always uniform, where you can schedule an appointment. Let's go to the next screen, though, see if it's on there. It's not, but just to mention about scheduling and appointments, finding out how to schedule with a specialized librarian, you can go to their subject page, click on that link, and there'll be a listing of their availability. And you can select a half-hour appointment, a 15-minute appointment, an hour appointment. Most librarians will meet either by phone or by Zoom conference or face-to-face. Any of those ways work for most librarians. Okay, let's see what we've got here. So if you're in a situation where you've used that general search box, you didn't really find exactly what you need, and you need to go to one of the specialized databases. This is just kind of an example of an article search in a more specialized database. One of the benefits of this, in addition to that, it's got concentrated content, is usually you can do more laser-focused searches. So you can use all of the tools of the particular database to find more precisely what you might be looking for. So, for instance, you can limit by the type of content. So you can throw in your keywords, and then you could say, well, I only want scholarly materials, or I only want magazines. I only want a particular type of content. You can use these drop downs to say, I want the article to be not just to mention volunteer or volunteerism, but to be substantially about that. That has to be a major subject area, and so. You wouldn't search these databases necessarily in the same way that you would Google Scholar, just throwing in keywords. You need to be a little bit more intentional. And sometimes it can be helpful to get some input from a librarian about how to do that. Okay, we can, I think, go to the next one. Maybe go to the next screen. And this is really just showing that, when you're in almost all of our databases, the general search box on the search screen, search screen of the library, and in most of the article databases, you'll see a Find It button to get full text. I had mentioned that earlier. I think we can go to the next one. And this is an example of not, we don't actually have everything available in full text in our library, so there may be occasions where it's not something that we subscribe to. That doesn't mean that we can't get it for you, though. If you see a situation where it pops up, get a scan, I urge you to go ahead and do that. The first time you go in and do that, it'll ask you to register. You'll have to type in your email address and your telephone number. And then you exit, you go back in, and you'll never have to do that again. And it will bring up a form which will populate a request form with all the bibliographic information that's needed for us to procure that article for you at no charge to you. Usually within 24 hours, you'll get an email. The email will not contain the thing that you requested, but it'll contain a link back to the interlibrary loan request system where you can pick up that PDF that you requested or the scan that you requested. Okay, I think we can go to the next one. And this is what that form looks like. So you can see that the article that we wanted, it's all the information of the author, the title, the volume, the year, and all that is included. You hit submit, and we can go to the next screen, and you'll usually get it. I think you can hit enter again. Oops, no, maybe you can go back. The screen's just looking funny. It didn't look like that when I created it. I just wanted to mention there are almost all of the resources, the databases that you have access to from the library homepage only can be entered through the library homepage. Like if you know that we have a database, you can't just Google it and log into it. You'll have to go into that database from the library homepage. There And almost always the only credentials that you will need to get into that database are the credentials that you use to get into your Villanova email address. There are a couple exceptions. There are a couple business databases where you have to register additionally. And there are a couple resources that probably everyone should probably register for right now. And that's the NewYorkTimes.com. We have free subscriptions to that, so you can register for the New York Times and read it on your phone. Wall Street Journal, the same thing, and the Financial Times. And these are a little bit different. To get to them, you go to the library homepage, go to Databases A to Z, and look for New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, whichever it is, and there's access instructions, and there's a link where you can go ahead and register for that. So that's one sort of anomaly for how you get content. Everything else, you just link to it from the library homepage, put in your Villanova credentials, but these are a little bit different, and there's something that probably everyone will want to take advantage of. And so then just to sum up, I want you to remember that there are librarians available to help you, certainly during business hours, and many of us are flexible. I went to school when I worked full-time, and so I know that I'm willing to make appointments outside of the regular business hours. So that's available to you. Another way to reach a librarian is emailing with questions. We can help you, back and forth that way. And the services that we provide are both for finding information, evaluating content that you may find on the free web yourself, and citing material. I realize that some of you may not have been in an academic setting in a while, and it can be really disorienting to have to cite things using APA or MLA or whatever. Librarians are really skilled at helping you through that too. Great. That's it.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie Studer, it rhymes with tutor, and I'm the Assistant Director of Tutoring for Villanova University. So hopefully it will be easy for you to remember. So I was actually an undergraduate at Villanova and fell in love with tutoring services and student support services because once upon a time I was a writing center tutor at Villanova, and now I have the distinct pleasure of working in all 5 of the free services that we have available to our students. We have about 300 tutors on our campus, 5 of whom are professional. The rest are upperclassmen or graduate students. So I wanted to talk to you about a couple of specific resources that I think you might like to take advantage of during your time at Villanova. And I'm going to begin with the Writing Center because that is where I began. So the Villanova Writing Center is physically located on the 2nd floor of Falvey Library. They are open from 11:30 a.m. until 7:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday. They are open on Fridays from 11:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. And they're available on Sunday evening as well. I believe those hours are 3:30 to 7:30. And the thing that I would like to ask a favor of you regarding the Writing Center is that we just got our very first line for a professional tutor who is going to eventually evolve into the distance learning writing tutor. So she started last week, and we are so excited that she is here, but we have not quite yet figured out what the system is going to look like for her. We know that she's going to be reserved specifically for our distance learners. So students who are on campus are not going to be able to access this person's services. They have to be distance learners because we want to have enough space in the calendar in our schedule for specifically to support students who are not on our campus. Her name is Nancy Savath. She is wonderful. She was hoping to come with me this evening, but she was already scheduled to work with some people, so she was not able to come. She's tutoring right at this moment. So if you would like to get in touch with Nancy, I'm leaving my business cards up here. If you email me, I'll put you in touch with her directly. For now, basically what we're doing is you'll get in touch with her via email. She needs about a 48-hour window of advance notice for a project. And she's going to reach out to you. You'll set up a time to speak on the phone. She does have some Skype capabilities. We're still trying to figure out kind of the best tool for the actual distance learning. We would like it to be synchronous. We would like you to have a live conversation with this person. Now, whether she has reviewed the paper in advance of that or if she's reviewing it at the same time as you for the first time together, we're still working out all those details. So what you can do to help us evolve this service to be as effective as possible for your needs is you can tell us what it is that you would like to see. We're very open to suggestions. We would really like your input. So again, my contact information is going to be up here, and I would really welcome any input that you have as we kind of build this brand new service that we have available. You're also welcome to make appointments on campus at the Writing Center if you're close enough to campus to do so. All of the tutors there, they're either professional tutors. We have 5 6 now, including Nancy, 6 professional tutors who all have advanced degrees in writing heavy disciplines in the humanities. The rest of the tutors are either graduate students who are PhD candidates in philosophy or master's candidates in English. We also have senior underclassmen who have taken an entire semester-long course in order to be qualified to tutor in the Writing Center. So another service that we have is called the Learner's Studio. And this one is near and dear to my heart for another reason. We just opened it. This is its 3rd academic year. This is specifically what I was brought on campus to help design, because up until 3 years ago, we did not have free content tutoring available in subjects other than math or writing. So we now have a staff of 43 tutors. We don't have professional tutors yet, so they are all undergraduates or graduate students. The way it works is the students have to have taken the course, earned a certain grade, and gotten a glowing reference letter from the faculty member in that specific class in order to be able to work with other students in it. So we do not at this time have distance learning capabilities in the Learner Studio, but again, this is where I would like your assistance. We do have a scheduling platform that can enable online learning. We just have not yet seen the demand in order to ramp up a really robust program for that, and so I would really, again, love to hear what it is that would be most helpful to you, what kind of hours you're looking for, which classes you're particularly interested in. Because we have the capabilities, we're just kind of waiting for a little bit of input on how we might make this most useful to you. So I have 43 tutors who are already trained. They cover over 150 different topics. So if you're taking Russian or Spanish or French or physics or chemistry or organic chemistry, they have a test tomorrow. I know that because all of the tutors are booked tonight. So if you would like to request a tutor for a class that you don't see listed on our scheduling platform, there is a way to do that. I like to mention this at this stage because it does take 4 weeks to get a new tutor through HR. So if you start a brand new class at the start of a semester and you even suspect you might want a tutor in it, I would strongly recommend that you just go ahead and send in the request. I need 3 requests for a class in order to start the hiring process. So send the link for the form to all of your friends from class, and you can all request someone, and I will find someone for you within the month. I know a month is not a speedy turnaround time, so again, as soon as you possibly can, let me know that you think there might be a need. I would love to jump on that project for you. Okay. Right now, the Learner Studio operates out of Old Falvey. It's the old wing of the library, and we are open Sunday through Thursday evenings from 4 to 9 p.m. Finally, we have a Center for Speaking and Presentation. So very similar idea to the Writing Center. You can come in at any stage of your speaking or presentation process, whether that's visual aid design or organization or just brainstorming. We can help with all of those skill sets. But we can also help with things that are a little bit more visceral and physical and specific to you. So when you hear that you have to get up in front of people and have a conversation, sometimes we have reactions that we can't control, like our heart might start pounding or our hands might shake. And those are things that take really specific training to work yourself out of. So our tutors are trained in techniques to help identify your specific firing order. What are the things that happen to you when you hear you have to get up and speak? And they can design exercises for you and lead you through practices that are going to help train you out of those kind of more obvious signs that we're having a little bit of speaking anxiety. So we can help you with the more traditional, I have a presentation in 3 weeks, I would like to work on my visual aids, all the way down to my face flushes when I have to stand up and speak, even though I don't think I'm that nervous. So anything you can think of that's related to speaking and presentation, we're happy to help with. So on this table up here, I'm going to leave a couple of things. I have a handout which has screenshots of how you register for an account with our tutoring schedule. You can schedule your appointments for all of the different tutoring services from the same web page. For those that are subject specific, there will be a drop-down menu. You'll have to know your course code, so it's 3 letters and 4 numbers. So Intro Spanish is going to be SPA 1111. You're going to search for the specific class that you want, and it's important that you do that first because that's what's going to show you all the tutors who have approval to work in that specific class. Otherwise, you might be coming in for Spanish, but you could have picked out a French tutor or a chemistry tutor, and they're not going to be able to help you out, unfortunately. So please make sure you pick the class first and foremost. So we do have the handout up here with all the screenshots of how to make your appointment. And you'll notice when you register for your account, you do have to use your Villanova email address to do so. one of the questions now on our registration form is, are you a distance learner or a College of Professional Studies student? Because we want to start getting information on what times of day work best for you, which classes you're looking for. So tell all your friends in the program to please register for an account so we can start really building the best resources for you. I also have free pens, because who doesn't need a free pen? They're technically for the Center for Speaking and Presentation, and then underneath their logo, you'll have to get out your magnifying glass, but there is the website that you go to in order to schedule the appointments, which can also be found on the handout. And finally, I do have my business card. So I would just really love to work more closely with all of you. I think that you add such a wonderful dimension to our campus, and we would really like to have your presence in our tutoring resources as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.